Irony of this whole entire movie, where at the end, spoiler, where the king, I guess the queen, I don't know, that he spoke on after they finished beating everybody or whatever, is like, oh, we want to reunite the people together. You know, we want to focus on, you know, regaining control, getting our resources, and stop harming each other. And we need to come as one and fight the white man from stripping our identity, our dignity, and resources. This is his whole speech. The most of the movie focused on the strength of only women, not promoting black families, black men are no longer needed, and of course, what? Black on black violence. We forgot these two African tribes built their kingdom off financially profiting off human trafficking and selling their own people to the white man at that. Again, this is only my first watch. So let's speak on the first theme. This movie really underaddressed the biggest elephant in the room. They downplayed the whole aspect of slavery. I don't know, I may not trip it. It was almost comical to me that the beginning of the film, when they was talking so casually, like, hey man, we just sell people for weapons. It's nothing, not a big deal. Think about it. Who were they selling the people to? They just gloss it over, don't even think about it. Like, they poorly address slavery. Obviously, they do the cliche stuff. Let's do the black on black, you know, division. And let's just, you know, let the Europeans, you know, kind of go scotch-free. They only show, like, very small glimpses. Like, for example, right, later on in the movie, because they only show the inhumane part at the end, because, you know, we're not really paying attention to that, right? I don't know who wrote this film, by the way. I don't know if they black or white, I don't know. For example, how they bathed them. They had them chained up, and all they did was throw buckets of water on them. And it's like, oh, there's your shower. We're not going to focus on that. But we focus on mainly these black male warriors rolling into the tribe. Like one of these random, like the beginning of the movie. Remember, this is the beginning, so everybody paying attention. They're seeing the dead bodies. They're not worrying about the white men or how they're impacting what we got going on. The first thing they want to say is, oh man, I can't believe how y'all let these women kill all these people. And that's the main focus of the movie. How the black man pride is not viewing the black women as an equal in masculine activity. It is nothing about slavery at all. Nothing. It touches on the end. We lost the battle, by the way. Just want to let you know, we're in America. Haha, look at us. I'm a U.S. citizen. So we flexing all these strong black women in this time frame is dumb in itself, because nigga, we lost either way. It shows how like self-centered, you know, whoever directed this is and trying to portray a certain character trait to women, which is okay, I get it, women empowerment, but you're doing it at the wrong time. And I think that you're undermining the overall slave dynamic, and this going forces like how black man leadership is really not really valuable. They're very depicted as passive or savage or abusive. And also too, they already was showing that lighter is righter. And I'm light skinned, so it's no bias on this. It kind of made the black people look bad. They only focus on that. It's like, I guess, the darker your skin, the more savage and abusive and weak of a leader you are that they showed you in the film. Like, for example, the dad, the antagonist, the king. I noticed the light-skinned guy was the hero. And honestly, based on how the movie was filmed, I'm going off the race dynamic. Tell me one thing the white man did based on this movie alone. And think about it. Suppose I didn't know anything about slavery. Like, I'm just looking at the movie. I don't know nothing about slavery. See, I'm a young little kid and I don't know nothing about it. The white man seemed like the good guy. That's far off, just doing this thing. Like, pretty much thinking of it like this. The white man's pretty much like, we're going to share your support with the resources. You get to get input in the decision making on what we got going on. You're compensated well. Just bring back, you know, a few people, and they even negotiated with you with the other tribe the price that they're gonna give you. Plus, they still gave them a finder's fee. So that sounds good to me. So tell me this though, why would that make the white person the enemy? This is how they depicted it in this movie, and that kind of was so crazy to me, because you honestly would think the black people were running the slave trade, which, unpopular opinion, shit, I mean, they practically did based on the movie. The Europeans just simply shipped them off like it was Amazon package. Hello, you in America in 2 days. And this movie shows how we constantly fail, you know, to see the big picture. We always find a way to create division as opposed to unity. Like, we always speak about it, but you say it at the end, but the whole entire movie was about black on black violence, and it's not even focused on unifying until like one random part. And that's the thing about society. We're so divided and everything's so stupid. One little random thing happens, and guess what? We unite for a little couple of days, and then guess what? We back to doing what it was. Let's make this movie more realistic, man. Showcase how disgusting these white men are, man. See, the main character was 19, 20. Man, in real life, man, them girls was 8 to 16 years old. Them white men were raping them girls, groping them girls, exploding them by And they were old white men too. They wasn't these Fabio white, handsome white men that they had in the movie. It was them old, crazy, creepy white men. And the weird thing about it was like in this movie, they focused on the sexual savagery of black men towards black women. The white man did something like that. They only filmed like a quick little 3-second montage of old men sexually assaulting and fondling enslaved black girls in like a random transition scene. I think it was the second time they got captured. And they just showed it real quick. If you wasn't paying attention, you would never notice. And again, it was later in the movie, so it doesn't align with the plot, so that's not even register in your head. They showed a minute plus montage of this big opposing intimidating black man raping the younger Viola Davis. I don't know her name in the movie. It's probably some African name. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just gonna say Viola Davis. And on top of that, it was a very unnecessary plot convenience to, how they did it was they, spoiler again, that they linked the main character, which was a little girl, with the person that was running the Warriors, and they made her daughter because she was like she got raped or some shit, and she got pregnant, and then she ended up giving her away, and he ended up getting adopted to a family that's just happened to be in the same tribe, and that's how they got connected. So it was pretty much adopted rape mother baby scenario. And honestly, they didn't have to add that to the plot because like it really didn't add anything to Viola's characteristics, like even becoming more feminine or nothing. It's just, and even the scenario when they had to go back and get her, she would have did that regardless whether that was her daughter or not, because I don't know what that would have did. She would have did the same thing. So the fact that they had to add her as her mother was kind of unnecessary. They don't really show the sinisternness in like the manipulation white people kind of put in place, and they know how to take advantage and exploit shortcomings. The black community, we are pretty easy to please because we are such a people pleasing race. The fact that in this movie, like, they just give them guns, they don't even know how to use them like that. They gave them some status, slid them enough money to get them back to do business with them, and that's how we are now. We just look for acceptance, income, and status, and we'll quickly backdoor our own people easily. We won't even think about backdooring, other races, other entities, other ethnicities, other religions, or even other white people. And white people love it. They're entertained about the distraction that we are willing to do upon each other. So this movie kind of shows how we're so brainwashed into having conflict with each other. And still, white people are still incentivizing and benefiting without getting their hands dirty. There's no face to hate. They never look like the bad guys. In the theater, look, here's the thing. We were watching the movie. They cheered for the black man getting killed by Viola, but the white slave trade leader of the movie, the young white guy, he got killed, barely got any cheers. And it was crazy how no one kind of peeped the little subtle stuff they threw in there in that dynamic. They was carrying him on a hammock in the show. They had a light-skinned comrade that was in it, and he was walking, sweating and everything. Masculine women versus submissive females kind of presented in this movie as like the pretty phase, the trophy wife. They really don't do anything, and they come off very entitled. As opposed to the warrior, it kind of depicted that like, hey, we earned our respect. Viola kind of undermined the king's authority multiple times. He put the kingdom at risk on plenty of occasions. For example, the same 20 woman example. Remember, he already negotiated the deal because they originally asked for 40. He said, we can do 20. All right, cool. And we pick whoever we pick. They never showed them consulting that, hey man, we're gonna pick the best 20 and we're gonna launch an attack on them. So you're putting the kingdom at major risk of starting a war with the other tribe. And not only that, you also are doing a direct attack on the European slave trade base and potentially cutting off their resources. Remember, because they're also in the slave trade and getting resources from the white people as well too. So you're risking them cutting off your resources and also them having a double attack on something that was a truce deal that was already established. Very plot convenient that they made things work because they honestly should have died. And the fact that she disregarded higher chain of command without having any reprimanding or consequences, that is crazy. That's a big problem that a lot of times that people they forget. There's no accountability. They show countless times that the submissive woman gets checked on her thoughts and she still follows the lead. She never sabotaged anything that the king did and put him in harm's way. Even when the king did something that she didn't agree with, on the other hand, masculine woman at the time rarely got checked on stuff. She had free reign to do whatever she wanted, but the one time she was told to not do something, she abandoned protocol and authority and did whatever she wanted. You don't need two kings. And the fact that, you know, they didn't have respect for like the king and what he had to bring, he seemed like he was only the bag. Like, this is very destructive how they kind of, again, illustrate how they don't need men because they're weak decision makers, like the king. They're abusive, the dad, only care about sex. The enemy tribe leader exchanged their resources for women. And this thing about all the stuff that they put out there to make all black men look bad. I don't need a man. I don't need this. And this movie is kind of enforcing that nature that, oh, they even did that back then. Tried to, you know, indirectly exploit black families. Viola, like I said, trauma. She emphasized not having a husband, not having sex, which was dumb because you still have, in the kingdom, you still have to procreate and make strong warriors. And this is the worst case scenario. They should at least have encouraged soldier on soldier procreation, because especially in the black community, we go off the Darwinism effect where it's survival of the fittest. So strong should be with strong. So think about it. If only the traditional women and, you know, locals are having kids, more than likely they're not going to be one to raise under have fighter genes and want to be under, you know, be a warrior's mentality. So you're bringing in weaker people that if the war does happen, you don't have nobody that has the genetics to be dominant in the field. You have to really train them up. And we indirectly seen this kind of work. You know, unfortunately, due to her getting, you know, her trauma, she ended up having strong on strong. You know, the strong soldier, which was ran the tribe, versus strong soldier here. They end up making the strongest new soldier that came in, the girl, I forgot her name. It's more than being a king. Even though she had good personal skills, it mean more than being a king than this being strong, because you have to make the tough decision. She had to pick out 20 girls to sell off. And after she finished doing it, she damn near had a panic attack. She barely even showed any great strategies in fighting and combat, because she stole the explosive deal from her daughter. The attack on the Europeans failed. And if this was a company, I mean, she would be a great manager. You know, you put her in a particular, you know, department that she can specialize in. But she didn't show any display and skill set that would make her be successful as a king. Greatly, that's like being the best football player does not make you the best leader. But what's the financial plan? She was pretty much depicted off living off the guy resource, because he was like, no, I'm done with the slave trade. I'm not going to do that. We're going to go off this palm oil and go from there. It's many more things that I can really go in on. We could do the skin tone dynamic, how they used, you know, the light skin, you know, dark skin as far as in the roles of back then, where they placed the lighter, fairer skinned person in a position of power, put them in front of other, you know, black people, especially they got it like a dark skinned favorable people, like how they said it. And they did a quick montage when he first appeared. All you see was like a montage of how in their eyes the dislike and disdain they had towards him when he kind of showed himself. You know, he kind of mixed breed. It already give that dynamic like, oh, you think you better than us. And the white person as well too, they didn't give him the same energy as far as like how they showed the montage. They just kind of like, oh, or whatever. I can also touch on religion. You know, Christian and Muslim were in the slave trade together, working as a team in a sense. And their primary targets were essentially the non-believers. They view rituals, spiritual practices, and such as blood sacrifice that they did in the scene where they was cutting with the knife as savagery behavior. They discourage tribes to do that, and they incentivize other tribes to get more slaves of that type of breed. Either you can kill them or capture them. We don't care, because we lost that traditional African practice and conform to Americanizing, you know, ideologies and religious practices. You know, Christianity wasn't our original religion, but the thing about it, like, they brainwash us so much into, you know, into their like, you know, mindset is that even if you see African tradition, it looks at as taboo, witchcraft, or something heinous and evil to learn, and like you don't want to do it. The movie, just on the first level basis, you know, cinematically it was good. You know, this created a lot of conversation. The fact that we constantly are still creating this division in every aspect. First it was be man and women, light skin, dark skin. Now it's masculine men versus masculine women. Now submissive and stuff like that. Now it's men and gender roles. It's always some type of weird division that's going on in society, and it's very destructive, and it's mainly being emphasized in the black community. And some of this dialogue is so stupid, and we're not focusing on creating a stronger unity, and that is started with the family. Let me know you guys' thoughts on this movie and what you think about what I said, and how is this what I'm saying is factual? Is it BS or what you thought about it? So hit the subscribe button, like all that stuff, and I'm out gone.
Nigga, did I just catch you having fun?
Sweet Jesus! Lord!